Hi there. So I've been discussing, and I have a playlist. Since I can't add playlist into my videos anymore, unfortunately, I will put the link to my playlist that covers all my newsy type of videos. And I have, some of the justice cases, social interests, that kind of thing in there. So, at any rate, here are some comments from Melody Johnson. She's the woman who is accused of poisoning her husband. I put in the videos different links of showing that it's absolutely not humanly possible for this guy to be drinking what he alleged that he had been drinking for 3 weeks and even still be alive, which is why I got concerned that I feel like the case, it just had a feel of inequality. And the more that I look into the case, the bigger problems that I'm seeing. One, when she was arrested, she invoked her right to an attorney, which everybody has a right to do. But when you invoke your right to attorney, unless some specific state statute does not allow them, when you invoke your attorney, when you go into police station, you should, whether you're innocent or guilty, automatically invoke your right to an attorney. Just because of the fact that you're sitting in a police station is probably not a good situation on whether they have the ability, if you're innocent and they're looking at you. At any rate, not to get on a tangent, but she invoked her right to an attorney and they did not question her, which tells you they did not provide an attorney for her. So, when you invoke your attorney, it doesn't mean that it should automatically end the questioning. It means that they should provide you an attorney for you to go through questioning. Rather than then questioning her with an attorney, they decided to charge her. Now I'm going to show you the actual document of what led to her being charged. So police reports, and this is where sexism, sometimes racism, and due to the fact that the officer appears to be Hispanic, so I don't know if there's any biasness on his part. Officers just go by what they're being told. However, there is a very large problem with officers across the country, and I'm not speaking on my own opinion on this matter. As a previous, I did go to law school, and I got into the habit of reading a lot of cases. Let's just put it that way. So I do. I take a lot of interest. I guess I'm a book nerd. I don't know. I like to read cases, and I have books from the 1600s, 1800s, and sometimes I just read cases. It's something to do. At any rate, so I've read a lot of cases from federal courts who have ruled that there's big problems. So I'm not coming from, and it's bipartisan. It's not like Democratic judges or Republican judges. I'm talking federal judges in general have, through different types of cases, talked about the problematic sexism and discrimination against women through police forces. So I'm, again, not telling you on my own opinions. So what I see is when she wasn't granted the right to be questioned with an attorney, instead just charging her based on the man's claim only. What the man is claiming is not matching. Now, granted, he said that basically there was multiple coffee pots, which I had already pointed out, and then he stated that this was his coffee pot that was, she was putting stuff in. So, because apparently they were going through a divorce. They do have a child, by the way. They were going through divorce when this happened. And so they, I don't know why they had separate coffee pots, but that's according to him. Now, granted, it appears that she's a homemaker, so she's the person responsible with cleaning things, unless they just had an arrangement. If it was truly his coffee pot and he's the one that cleans his coffee pot, then it would be a little suspicious that she put anything in it. Nonetheless, it still does not add up. And that's why I just want you to know some more information. She had accusations against him for sexual assault in Germany. That was apparently what it appears prior to his setting this up, is what I believe happened, to get charges on her. He wasn't charged. She accused him of sexual assault. He wasn't charged. But when he goes to do charges on her, he succeeds on things that just don't even, it just doesn't even add up, right? But, it's up to a DA if he feels like, well, I think I can convince a jury of this. I think that we can get some things limited what goes before a jury, and I think I can prevail. So if you have a county judge who's very biased towards defendants, and it's not a matter of what the evidence is, a lot of times it's a matter of what the judge allows to go before the jury. Okay, so if, let's say, pray tell, expert witnesses are not allowed, he could prevail. But the bottom line is, there's no possible way, based on what he said, that he was drinking for 2 to 3 weeks for it to be that, that it added up. There's no way. It's not humanly possible. I'm most certain if you call Poison Center and that you ask them if you had somebody put bleach in your coffee maker and you drank that, should you go to the hospital? And they will tell you go straight away. So there's no way he can drink all that and not even be sick. There was absolutely not one single complaint of any symptom whatsoever. So let's say all this could be is an attempt to be murder if she had actually done this. You can't have assault unless there is an injury. You can have an attempted assault. But let's show you the charges now. Here is the complaint. This is the report written by the police officer. It was dated July 18th, 2023. Pima County, Arizona. Okay. Attempted first-degree homicide, attempted aggravated assault, and adding poison food. Bottom line, this, if she gets convicted of both this and this, that is a form of double jeopardy. So this is where I'm coming in with that is so discriminating against a Latino woman because or sexist, both. You're basically charging her with the 2 different charges on the same facts, and that is double jeopardy. Now, sometimes what they do is they'll put multiple charges that are possibly what you can be charged for. So if she ended up being charged with this and this, then, that is so double jeopardy. And keep in mind, she accused him of sexual assault and he wasn't charged. So how is that fair? She accuses him of a crime, he's not charged, and he comes up with this. There's no claim. This is the statement, and I'll go into the next page. There's no claim of any physical harm to this man other than having stinky coffee. And he claims that it was his coffee maker. Now I'm going to show you what the lawyer, now I found the statements by the lawyer, is basically the exact same things that I have been saying. So here we go. Her defense attorney is Louis Fidel. Okay. And so he's basically saying, how did they determine that video A links up with video B, links up with video C, and that those would be things that I'm sure people would look up, and basically saying that there could have been things done outside of the video, because there are moments in the video where both one or the other or both are off screen. Okay, so basically I don't see him presenting the fact that a defense attorney that she has is not, unless of course there's more things that he said, and this is all that they're showing that he said, they're not showing the fact that she cleans the coffee makers. But what I do see is that it appears, because he's not saying that she's denying putting thing in there, right? It's not saying that, look, this is what she does to clean things. But what I have seen, this is the only place, News 4 SA is the only place all over the internet, on all your mainstream, this is why I'm claiming discrimination, all of your mainstream medias has not presented her side of the story. How is that not discrimination when you have an attorney for the defendant who has pointed some things out and no mainstream media has presented her side whatsoever? You have an attorney who spoke briefly, at least, to the media, yet they don't say anything. How is that not discrimination? You have a time where there's a lot of people complaining about the migrants coming up through the country, and you have a president who is going back and forth. They're asylum seekers, no, they're illegals, and you've got them, of course, he has very generously granted temporary work permits, which I'm thankful for that, because we don't want people who's here as refugees, if their asylum status is granted, because they truly are asylum seekers, to not be able to work. I mean, that's just crazy, right? And so, at any rate, not to get off on a tangent on it as well, I have a big problem with the mainstream media villainizing this woman, not even mentioning her side, right? Didn't nowhere, anywhere on the internet, on all these mainstream media, is there one mention that she accused him of sexual assault. Okay? And then this happened. Nor is there anyone in the mainstream media that is also pointing out the fact that he alleged to have drank bleach for 3 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks and would then not have one physical symptom of sickness. And that, of course, is not humanly possible. So do you see where I'm coming from on I truly believe this is sexism, is discrimination. You do not have. So it is clear now that the videos are missing, because I pointed that out, but I left it reserved. I said maybe there's more, that maybe they have the videos. All you have is her putting stuff in the coffee pot, and then you just have him later, the next day, doing some test strip. You don't know what he did off screen. He could have put something in there just to try to frame her, because he has her on video putting stuff in a coffee pot, right? And so I was like, where's the rest of the footage? And I thought, well, maybe they're just not sharing it. But it is very clear now that that video, the rest of the footage, is not shared. So it is based on missing footage. They have very biasly charged this woman who has accused him of sexual assault. And of course, he was not charged. So that's it. That's all they have. And that is how easy it was to get a charge on a woman. Just this guy claiming, who has been accused of sexual assault, just this guy claiming that he did not know, that he's not saying whether or not his wife cleans coffee. He was just saying it was his coffee pot and he had bad taste in coffee. No mention whatsoever of any sickness, any kind of feeling sick. So he's claiming that he can drink bleach, that amount of bleach that he's showing that he believes was put in his coffee maker, that caused bubbles when he pours water in the reservoir to bubble up. If he had drank that much, he'd be dead. But according to him, for 3 weeks, he can drink that, not have one single solitary physical symptom. And that's why this on itself, either that officer is just straight up just biased, maybe he's getting paid. I don't know what the deal is, and I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying this doesn't add up. Okay, but for a DA to take this charge and to say, well, I'm going to just ignore the fact that women do clean coffee pots, okay, with bleach. I'm going to ignore the fact that there's missing footage, and I'm going to ignore the fact that this was obviously already a hostile situation. They're going through divorce. She accused him of sexual assault. He wasn't charged. But now, based on his statement only, it was he say, she say, because you don't have the connecting videos from when she poured that in there. Did she go over to the sink and rinse it out? Because it was just a cleaning process. And all you have is his word that basically that was his coffee pot and she didn't rinse it out. And he went over there, and all you have is him just doing some test. And you don't have any ability to know whether or not he added something into the coffee pot to make it bubble like that, to give an appearance for his video that he was going to present to the police. All you have is his word. He could have added something, but they're going to take his word and not even consider the fact that he may have done that. It's just his word against hers, period. But they feel like, well, you know what? We're going to sensationalize the heck out of this case. And she's going to be like a walking, known, infamous woman for the rest of her life as the woman who tried to poison some Air Force soldier. And I'm going to tell you something else. I am a soldier. All right, I'm a veteran. Okay, I served at war, and I have nothing against veterans, because a lot of thousands of my friends on my other social media site are veterans. Okay, I'm very active in veteran issues, right? But I don't give no excuse for no soldier, no veteran, no nothing to come out with charges like this against your spouse who's already accused you of sexual assault. And then, but I want people to understand this is how it works, because people think, well, if you're innocent, then you'll be able to prove it to jury. No, you need to understand how this works. When they sensationalize this and you have one-sided bias mainstream media getting involved to where they just sensationalize the heck out of the case, okay, and then you have a time period that this is happening, we have all these migrants coming into the country and they're trying to push fear into our society from one side, claiming how our country is in danger. And it is a very, very dangerous situation at the border. But I'm just telling you the timing that they're pushing this case that a Latino woman has tried to get insurance benefits off of her veteran, exclude the part where she accused him of sexual assault, exclude the part that there's footage is missing, it's just his word against her, exclude the part that it's not even physically possible to drink that much that he was claiming that was being fed in the coffee pot for 3 weeks and not even having one physical symptom. Just don't even mention any of that. Okay. And so how does anybody not think that that's not bias? I don't understand people. Right. And so back to the part where when they get this when they will get this before the jury, they're already going to have, I don't think it's going to be possible for anybody, unless they just don't look at news at all, to not know this woman's face, to not know her name. Right. And of course they'll say, well, can you, not be, they'll ask them in jury voir dire whether or not they'd heard about the case. And even if they heard about the case, if it's an infamous case, then, they'll say, well, I feel like I can be impartial. So you're going to have people that's already going to have this planted in their mind. And then you're going to have the judge limiting on what can be presented and what cannot. This judge should have already thrown this out. The fact that the judge didn't throw it out, because obviously there's videos missing. Obviously a judge should know that you can't drink when he's alleging that he drank and not have any physical symptoms. It's just straight up bias. I'm sorry, but it is. It's extremely biased, and look at the tiny amount. So she puts that in there and then she goes over to the sink. So I need you to note this on the video where they're claiming she went to the laundry room, and because the bleach in the kitchen was probably out. What does it matter if she's in the laundry room collecting bleach or she's in the kitchen collecting bleach? What you need to notice that when she comes out of the laundry room, she goes to the kitchen sink before she puts it in to the coffee pot. And why does that matter? Because she dilutes it. Because that's how you clean a coffee pot with bleach. You take a little bit of bleach, you dilute it, okay? Because a lot of these come concentrated and you have to dilute it. So, and then you add water to it, okay? And so there's not possible that she could, and then another video, she's adding salt. Okay, how would she's going to know he's going to taste the salt? It's a cleaning. And in fact, it took him weeks to get 3 videos. That tells you right there, she's not doing it every day. She's adding this probably on a weekly basis because you clean coffee pots weekly. This is a cleaning chore. She's a homemaker. But I believe that she had sexual assault accusations against him, which of course they excluded from the world to know. And then he's like, oh, I'll show her. I'll get charges on her. And then I ain't going to pay her a daggone penny. She ain't getting no money from me. I'll show her. And that's exactly what he did. But because this is sexist, discriminating, he was able to get charges on her. And how do you prove, anyways, when your husband has sexually assaulted you? But I'm going to tell you something. It happens. It happens. It happens. Men can rape their wives. And how are you going to prove that your husband raped you? How are you going to prove that? So, anyways, that's the update on this particular story. I'll put the links to these. You can look at, this is the charge. This is it. So she was charged with multiple charges. And, it's going to be really messed up if she gets convicted of this and this, instead of just choosing from one or the other, anyways, but yeah, just on his word alone, that was his coffee pot, that, and his word alone, that she didn't go over after she put that stuff in there and rinse it, and his word alone that he didn't add stuff himself off camera, and then just all he did was showing him putting water in the reservoir. That's all you see. You see an up close coffee pot and up close him pouring water. You don't see whether or not he added something to make that foamy stuff. And then you have the fact, if the amount of foam or bubble, whatever that was in that reservoir, that means there's a lot of bleach that was in there, and it's not possible that he drank that for 3 weeks straight and not be dead. This is a completely bogus charge because this man was accused of sexual assault and they were going through divorce, bottom line. And it's unfortunate that the woman was not provided an attorney during questioning. There was no questioning done on her. They just charged her. Okay. They didn't even ask her. She didn't even get a chance to say that this is what she does. She cleans the coffee pots. And his claim that, she doesn't clean his coffee pot, he cleans his own coffee pot, that's not even mentioned. It's just, there's a comment that it was his coffee pot. They had several coffee pots and only he drank from it. And does that mean that she's not going to clean it? Because it's so, you know what I mean? It's just his word against hers. But in this world, you know what? You can get charges on you from a man's word alone, with all kinds of stuff missing, absolutely bogus nonsense about drinking bleach for 3 weeks on the amount that he's presenting, and then you're just some miracle person who wouldn't even have one single solitary physical symptom. And there's also a lack of injury that's also included. How can you have assault when you have no injury? Attempted assault, okay, but adding poison to food and drink. Okay. Anyways, it's just his word against hers. And I would have had no problem with this case if he had continuous, nonstop video footage of her putting something in that coffee pot and then not cleaning it or not rinsing it. I would have had no problem with this case whatsoever. Right? Even though it's still speculative, because, it's his word saying that he didn't know that she had put something in it. But the fact, again, when she left that laundry room, when you see her coming out of the laundry and they're like, look, she's coming out of the laundry room. And these media people make a big deal out of that. When in fact, that video actually shows for her benefit, because she comes out of the laundry room and goes to the sink to add water. Because that is the process of how you clean a coffee pot. You dilute the bleach and then you add, a certain amount of water. You let it soak, or you scrub it in the sink. People do different ways, but some people let it soak and then they rinse it out really, really good. So he could have just known that she does this process of cleaning the coffee pots. That he's like, I got an idea. I'm going to do a video of her cleaning the coffee pot and I'll say she's trying to poison me. That is so easy way for him to get charges. You know what? But for real, you would think he would at least fake being sick. If he really wanted to fake some charges, he should at least fake being sick, for crying out loud. He could have said, and I was so sick to my stomach and I didn't know why. Now I figured it out. But there wasn't even one symptom listed that he had. It's not possible. It's not physically possible for him to drink what he's alleged was in there and not be dead. So anyways, that's it for this one. Doggone media. Biased media. So when you type her name, this is the most unfortunate thing that's happening. And I don't think she has a good attorney at this point if he has not brought up the issue that this is such garbage. The fact that he's trying to say that he drank bleach for 3 weeks, I don't see any mention of that. Maybe he did, and it's just not put in the media, But every single mainstream media has covered this story. And it's really, really sad because they have not mentioned that he was accused of sexual assault. It doesn't mention that there's video footage missing. It doesn't mention that it's not humanly possible to drink bleach for 3 weeks, like he said he did, and still be alive. None of it. It's so biased. It's so discriminating against a Latino woman. It's so biased. It's even international, right? Nothing, absolutely nothing mentioned about the other part of the story, right? And I'm very sad to see that her own attorney has not brought up the fact. Unless he did, I think I might give him a call. Like, dude, why aren't you mentioning to the DA that it isn't even possible that he should be charged because of sexual assault? He should be charged for falsifying a report because it's not possible for him to drink with he was saying he drank for 3 weeks. It's not possible. Why isn't he arguing that? I don't see it. I don't see that anywhere. He is arguing about the missing footage. Okay. But I don't see him arguing the fact that this is a cleaning process. I don't see him arguing, actually the fact that it probably is mentioned about the cleaning, but based on what he is presenting, but I don't think he's not said nothing about it's not possible. It's not physically possible. He's not saying the medical specialists will testify that it's not possible for him to drink 2 to 3 weeks. The amount he's saying was put in there. It would do much more than make his coffee taste bad. That this doesn't even add up. He's not arguing this. right? And that's concerning because it sounds like he's a public defender. Okay, that's very concerning because they'll probably offer a plea bargain, and she'll be pressured to take it, and that's unfortunate. Of course, she's not going to get anything in the divorce, and he's not going to be charged with uh, sexual assault. Of course, he's not. She says he sexually assaulted her when they lived in Germany. Okay, so I guess the German police, in fairness, would probably be the one that handled that. And if they're in the military, I'll tell you one thing about the military, being a combat veteran, there's so much sexual assault going on in the military. I can see the military not charging the guy for sexually assaulting her, But again, how do you prove your spouse sexually assaults you? That's pretty hard, actually. But anyways, that's it for this one.